Well, good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Looking forward to our little program together and the fun we're going to have. And let's start, as we always do, with a little hellos to our faithful, friendly, what other F can I think of? Andrea, fun, Rosa, audience, Kevin, Oshawa, good morning. Lori Lee from Ventura, California. Jen from Cape Breton. Francis Marie, good morning. Nick from our staff. Mike from Norland. Bill, how are you? Mary, good morning. And Adeline. Sometimes these things, the scroll goes so fast I can't see it. Suzanne, or I miss certain folks. Donna, Newfoundland. Alma, good morning. Nellie, good morning. Wendy, how are you? Markham. Fran from Orangeville. Man, we got a lot of good friends here, don't we? Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's like I've known you guys all my life. Donna from Park Hill. Frida, good morning. Jeanette, bonjour. Hey, happy Valentine's Day. Morris, North Bay. Diane, LaSalle. Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Jeanette from our staff. Deb from Timmins. Zian and Jean, bonjour. Linda. Oh, I love those Lindas. Brenda. We appreciate you guys. And Rose, Fort Lauderdale, beautiful. Sandy, our buddy Dr. Bennett in Newfoundland. Yolande, bonjour. Yasu from Tirana, how are you? Debbie, Sturgeon Falls. Donna, another Donna. And Jeanette from Kapuskasing, where Santa Claus lives. Shirley, Anne, good morning. Rita, Beverly, and Nellie. Or did I already say hello to you, Nellie? Brian, good morning. Okay, a couple more guys and we'll get going. Maria, how are you? Judy, Dave, and Julie. We appreciate you guys. Wendy from London. Another Linda. IT, Unionville. Jocelyn. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, guys, we love you. Okay, now, I listened yesterday, I think it was yesterday. I listened to an interview. And it was a guy who was a consultant to Coca-Cola, okay? And he became a whistleblower. Incredible, okay? And he brought us into the meetings of a big company like Coca-Cola, and how, I hate to use the word, guys, corrupt, but how they manipulate data and how much money they spend on lobbying the government. Plus, here's what he said. They do 11 times more research than the NIH, the National Institute of Health. They pay for it. They pay for research. And, okay, and I'm quoting him, they expect results. Okay? they're expecting something in return. And they're going to get peer-reviewed studies showing that sugar is not near as dangerous as people think. And it's incredible. And he said, the interviewer asked him, why are you coming out with this? Why have you become a whistleblower? He said, I got children. Again, I'm quoting him. He said, my children would be consuming 100 times more sugar in their lifetime than a child 100 years ago. 100 times more sugar. Guys, have I not been telling you that for the last several years? We don't live in the same world. Grandpa here had cookies and ice cream too, you know. But we didn't have the sugar that they have today. He didn't even mention that Coca-Cola was the first one to change the sugar in their Coke. They went from, ordinary sugar, sucrose, glucose, to fructose, high fructose corn syrup. He didn't even mention that. But these big food companies, they're so powerful. Now, guys, you saw this chart. I think I posted it. I certainly had at least 1 or 2 podcasts on it. When Tufts University came out with their food chart. Do you remember that? I'll post it again after on our private Facebook group, okay? Tufts University, and here's what they did. On the top of the food chart, the best thing you can do for yourself is eat Cheerios. The worst thing they had on that food chart, dead last, was ground beef. And that's science. You know, I remind people, okay? I remind people. I watched it happen in my lifetime. Philip Morris. Now, you know, unless you're an American, Canadians, we're a little bit different in terms of tobacco companies, okay? Philip Morris, the biggest tobacco company in the United States, in the world. In 1970, they bought the Miller Brewing Company, okay? They got into beer. Because you know what was happening to tobacco? It was going like this. The tobacco sales, you know, finally were starting to come down. The people were getting the memo about tobacco. Tobacco and cancer, tobacco and heart disease. They were getting the memo. And people, you know, a lot of people stopped smoking. I've always said that it's one of the greatest preventions that medicine embraced. But they're usually wrong. They talk to you about cholesterol, wrong. They talk to you about butter, wrong. They talk to you about bacon, wrong. They talk to you about, cholesterol causing heart disease. And they talk to you about the sun and stay out of it, wrong. They get it wrong. But one thing they got right was smoking. Stop smoking. Okay. So Philip Morris, biggest tobacco company in the world, they started to diversify. Not stupid people. They said, let's take And you know what? They were convicted on addiction to smoking. They knew tobacco. They fudged the studies and said, no, that tobacco isn't addictive. And everybody and their dog knew it was. And finally, they got caught. And you can actually watch a movie about it. How Philip Morris and others got caught fudging their data. But here's Marlboro cigarettes, because that's what Philip Morris owned. They diversified. They went into the beer industry, Miller, and then they went into the food industry. In 1985, they bought General Foods. In 1988, they bought Kraft. Tobacco, to beer, to General Mills, General Foods, and Kraft. They became the biggest food company in the world. Tobacco to food. And that is why today, according to this whistleblower, Philip Morris, Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, they're in the food industry. And here's what they do. They create charts. Well, Philip Morris owns Cheerios cereal. They pay, according to this whistleblower, they pay big money and they expect results. So what happens? Meat. Imagine, at the top of the food pyramid, you have Cheerios. And they have a heart on the box. Cheerios has a heart on the box. You see, what Philip Morris does is they pay the American Heart Association, they give them money to sponsor, to say this is heart healthy. Why is it heart healthy? Because it's got fiber. Cheerios is good for your heart. No, the reason they put a heart on the box is because if you eat it, you will get a heart attack. I've been saying that for 30 years. Heart healthy, right? You go into the grocery store today, take margarine, and they got heart healthy. Bought and paid for. And listen, they're so smart. They are. They're so rich. They are. That they influence all media, social media, and scientists to put Cheerios on the top of the food chart and ground beef on the bottom of the food chart. My word, how can that ever happen? How could that even be true? How could that, like, if you just take out, go and in the first days of nutrition studies, you go meat. Well, one thing you have to admit, meat's got a lot of protein. It's got a lot of vitamins. It's got a lot of minerals. It's got a lot of amino acids. It's got a lot of B12. It's got a lot of, and yet they put it at the bottom. They put it at the bottom of the list. How can that be? How can that be? So all I'm telling you, it's money. Big money. And so I hear this at least once a week, if not several times a week, I hear this from my audience, especially the new people that come onto our group. You know what I hear? Here's what I hear. Dr. Martin, or to the group, maybe not even talking to me. I'm so confused. My doctor tells me not to eat butter, but to have margarine. Don't have red meat. Have plants and cereal. Because cereal, you know, my generation, and especially, my generation and my parents' generation, man, oh man, did they ever get duped. Terribly duped. Cereal, better than bacon and eggs. Cheerios. Imagine putting Cheerios ahead of an egg. I mean, day one in nutrition, day one, you'll learn eggs, almost really a perfect food. Very low carbohydrate, high in protein, high in healthy fat, but you see, they vilified fat. They vilified fat. The food industry, starting with Procter & Gamble, which was a soap company. They got into seed oils. And they had to figure out what they could do with cottonseed. And they made Crisco. Heart healthy Crisco. Yikes. And margarine. And they make it look like butter. Okay? It always amazes me. You know, I'm going to have a vegetarian burger. They want a burger, but they don't want the meat. What do you want? Crickets? You want butter, but you know, it's good for me. I like it, but I better use margarine that looks like butter. That was meant for your car and not your body. Your body doesn't even know what margarine is. Do you know that? You don't process it. There's nothing in there that your body can take for nutrition. Imagine butter that's got vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, 2, calcium, with vitamin K2, so that your body can use it, put it where it belongs, in the bones. Lutein, butter. And they, nah, you know what? But it's got cholesterol. And cholesterol is going to kill you. Except that your brain's made up of cholesterol. Every cell in your body is cholesterol. And your hormones, they need cholesterol to transport them. They're the FedEx trucks and Canada Post and U.S. Postal Service going through your blood vessel, blaming cholesterol for heart disease is like blaming police because they're at the crime scene. I've been saying that for 50 years. Blaming cholesterol for heart disease is like blaming the firemen because they're at a fire. Of course they're there. They're on your side. They're the good guy. There's no such thing as bad cholesterol. There just isn't. They made it up. Imagine the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry in cahoots. Is that a word? They got together and formed an unholy alliance that made cholesterol the boogeyman. And the cereal companies, woohoo, no cholesterol in cereal. Of course not. No cholesterol. And they got people to change their breakfast over it. And we went from, bacon and eggs, sausages and eggs and this kind of thing to cereal. Dr. Martin, if I don't have my oatmeal, I ain't going to be able to go to the bathroom. And besides, it's got a heart on the box. Quaker Oats. Must be good for my heart. Brought to you by the cereal companies. Used to be tobacco. You think they're stupid? They're not stupid. They even pay for research. I shake my head, guys. I shake my head. And then Big Pharma comes in and says, okay, how are we going to do this? And I'm not saying that all researchers are bad people, I'm not saying that. But they get influenced. And then they get into medical school. If you were to take 10 doctors, okay, I just, to prove my point, if you were to take 10 doctors just off the street and put a list of foods in front of them and say, okay, what do you recommend? I'm telling you, they do the same thing as Tufts University. Yeah, cereal, fruits and vegetables. Where would you put meat, doc? You better limit it, and you better limit your egg consumption because, after all, we want to keep you with low cholesterol, which, by the way, has not even made a dent in heart disease. Not even a dent. Well, as a matter of fact, heart disease is a lot worse because they didn't realize that heart disease, by and large, is a metabolic thing, and it has everything to do with insulin. And this whistleblower was screaming blue murder. He said, I got kids. I sat in meetings where they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars influencing the narrative that sugar does not cause obesity. Imagine Coca-Cola meetings. Let's make sure that we get research that shows sugar does not cause obesity. My friend, I just want to scream. Scream. Sugar doesn't cause obesity? We're up to 200 pounds a year. Go to the mall and have a look at the size of people. And you tell me that sugar, remember 1970, Philip Morris, they diversified. And they started to put their ugly tentacles of tobacco addiction to work in the food industry. And today, the biggest food company in the world, that's who they are. And man, isn't that something, guys? Isn't that incredible? Like when you think about it? Yep. Yep. I'm going to read you a quote. The majority of people believe the most frequently washed body part in 2022 was the hands. But in fact, it was the brain. Brainwashing. And you and I, we know better. You and I, we don't follow that. We don't let someone wash our brains. Brainwashing. Because, guys, it is so powerful. It's so powerful. It's the world in which we live. They buy their way into science. They buy their way in. That bothers me. That bothers me. And, you know, it's just the way it is. So you and I, you know, we've come up against a conglomerate. And that's why, like I said, am I out to change your mind? I don't want to wash your mind. I don't want to do brainwashing. I want you guys, like I tell you every day just about, how smart you are. And it's because you're thinking. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to take my word for it. And guys, I've told you this. I'm not that optimistic. I really am not. I'm an optimistic guy. Okay? I am. But I'm not optimistic that I'm going to change me, a little wee me, and a few others are going to change people's minds. Not in general. How can I go up against Philip Morris, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola? How can I go up against that? Who am I? Well, I know. But if they don't tell the truth, I'm going to call them on it. Does that mean I'm going to change, 90% of the population's mind? You know me, I always talk about animal products that have cholesterol. Cholesterol, by the way, is only found in the animal kingdom. There's no cholesterol in food in the plant kingdom. And if you make cholesterol the boogeyman, think about it, what happens? We got to get rid of cows. I mean, young people today in school, I mean, it's indoctrination. Meat is bad. Meat is bad. Eggs are bad. Cheese, nah, you shouldn't have much of that. And eat our cereals. Eat our Pop-Tarts. Hey? How about starting our day with Pop-Tarts? Can you believe that? Isn't that the craziest thing you've ever heard in your life? But guys, I'm telling you, right? I'm telling you. They're trying to get rid of the animal kingdom in terms of food. And this is what's happening. Hey guys, what can I tell you? When I watched that interview, I was just shocked by it. Not shocked, I shouldn't say it, but that they got a whistleblower to come out and say it. A very sincere guy, cost him his job, you can be sure of that. But he said, he couldn't stand it anymore. Yeah. Yeah. What a crazy thing, eh? Yeah. Anyways, like I said, guys, I'm not going to hold back. I won't hold back. Here we are. Why am I so passionate? Because young people, I got grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and I'm very concerned about them. I'm very concerned about their health, very concerned about them. So here I am. I'm going to preach it, man. You know, here we are today, 93% of the population have some form of metabolic syndrome, which is a food syndrome. It's food, my friend. It's food. It's food choices. And what is adults? 50% of adults are either diabetic or pre. And effectively, if you take their A1C and it's over 5.4, guess what? They really are diabetics already. They're just not going to get the diagnosis because they wait for blood sugar, which is a lagging indicator. Diabetes starts years before. It starts in the liver. Okay, guys. I need to breathe. I get so excited. I get, ooh. Okay. We love you guys. I say that often, but I mean it. Friday's question and answer Friday. You have any questions? Send them out. Send them to us, okay? Love you guys. Talk to you soon.